Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we're looking at a fun 10-game slate here in the NBA tonight, Nate. In this one, we're taking a look at the Hawks playing host to Nate's Celtics. Got plenty to look at in this one. Also have another game video up and our player props video. We're bringing you those each and every weekday of this regular season, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also head over to thelines.com. That's where we have our great written content for you guys all season long. Nate puts those props up and everything else you need up there each and every day of the regular season. Also have that great odds finder tool for you guys. So you can go ahead and make sure you're shopping those lines to the best of your ability across U.S. sports books. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into those lines and then get into Celtics and Hawks.
Yeah, we got 10 games here. Nice big Wednesday. Lots of injury news to monitor already here early in the season. But yeah, the lines, we got Pacers plus 2.5 at Hornets. The Thunder, that line is off the board right now, probably due to some injury news. I believe it's about +3 for Thunder at Washington. Minnesota -6 at Orlando. Paolo still out there, I believe. Miami is -1.5 at Toronto. Hero out. Bam questionable. Toronto missing there, guys. This game's going to be intriguing, though. Celtics -3 at Atlanta. Total around 236 there. We'll come back to that one. Bulls are +3 at the Pels, who are on a back-to-back. Zion did not play last night, so we'll have to monitor that. Cavs are +4 at the Bucks. Want to talk about that game, but Jared Allen out. Drew Holiday questionable. Pat Connaughton might play. Donnie Mitchell technically questionable, but his props are up. The Rockets are +9 at Dallas. Dallas on a back-to-back. Jokic is out tonight for COVID protocols, and the Knicks on a back-to-back +3.5 at Denver. And then the other game we'll get to in due time. Warriors +1 right now at Phoenix, open at +2. Chris Paul is questionable there, so lots to monitor. Like I said, in this Celtics-Hawks game, we do pretty much know who's going to play. Malcolm Brogdon's going to be out for the Celtics, which is a good starting point for saying that I don't think this game is going to hit a total of 236, and definitely not a total of 240. So initially, I mean, it's a really hard game to call in terms of the winner. Even on -3, I might like the Celtics, but the last time they were in a tough road spot at Memphis, they won by 3. So I don't love that either. I would like to tease to +7 for Atlanta at home with a total under 240. Or, tease it with another game if you are still scared of that total, because the Celtics their totals are so high because they have the most efficient offense in NBA history thus far. It is less efficient on the road, for starters, though. And in key spots, when you look at this matchup, they're scoring 8 less on the road, 116. They're getting 6 fewer free throws per game. They are shooting a higher percentage from 3 on the road, on 44 attempts, lower percentage inside the arc. Pace is slower. They're 6-1 to the over at home versus 3-3 on the road. And then the three-pointers are the key here. They're just playing that spread attack. Number 1 in three-pointers made right now at the 4th highest clip. But the Hawks are playing elite three-point D. Number 2 in opponents' three-point percentage, 4th in makes at home. Even better, holding opponents to 31% this year. And in these last 4 meetings with Boston, they've held the Celtics to 27% from 3. The Hawks themselves have been held in check as well. Usually we come into this matchup on the other side, right, Josh, where it's like Hawks are scoring 240 in every game. They're going to light it up with the Celtics, and then these games average like 202. Right, yeah, the Hawks are scoring 103, Celtics are scoring 101 in these last 4 meetings. The one time they went over before that, I mean, it's a few years ago. Marcus Smart happened to be out. Celtics missing a lot of good wing defenders. Their bigs were Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice. So, that's kind of a struggle, and Atlanta shot over 50% from 3. But otherwise, when these teams get together, it's an intense game that slows down in the 4th. Trae Young is not able to do what he usually does when Marcus Smart is out there on him. Marcus Smart and Derek White now, they still have to throw at DeJounte and Trae here. The Celtics defense is 4th in points per game allowed in the 4th quarter, so you got to like that for an under if this is close down the stretch. They're limiting fast break points, 3rd best, 7th fewest paint points, and 7th best on twos. And the Hawks, surprisingly, are dead last in 3-point percentage. So that fits right into what we're saying here, that they're not going to shoot well from deep, and they're not going to get as much going on the interior against the Celtics, who's still protecting the rim, even though they don't have Rob Will. And the reason I would take the Celtics basically against most teams right now, they're on a 7-game heater, as we know, just lighting it up. But last time we talked about the Hawks at home, Josh was saying, oh, the Sixers are hot. They're going to get them. And then I looked into it, and the Hawks just come to play every time they host an Eastern Conference contender. They're now 15-3 in their last 18 at home against those other top 4 teams, the Bucks, Sixers, Celtics, and Heat. And 9 of those last 10 games against any Eastern Conference team actually have gone under. So they ramp up that defense. They play you tough down the stretch, and these teams both have played each other tough. So I think we have an opportunity to capitalize on a really high total by going under.
Yeah, man, you crushed it. I fully agree with everything you said. I could tell you did your homework for this game, and you know the season. This matchup does lend itself to some trends, right? Not only does the recent history, especially in Atlanta where they play, really lend itself to more of an under, and to Atlanta, playing better defense, to the Celtics playing better defense, the Celtics playing slower on the road. Atlanta plays way faster at home, which is wild, but they're just way more efficient on offense on the road. Somewhat of a representation of Trae Young, who is just always looking to play better on the road, it seems, each and every season, at least the last 2 seasons. And then he really built that narrative as a road player on offense, as just a takeover player on offense on the road, when he obviously beat the 76ers in that playoff series, and that's really been his MO since. So all of that stuff leads to being at home, Trae Young not scoring as much at home in general, and also versus the Celtics in these matchups. He takes his source scoring to the Garden, as has been the case when they play in Boston, and those games go a bit higher totals. And so 235, man, like this opened, and people seem to want to bet it up. As you said, the Celtics playing with historically great offense right now, and not playing nearly as well at home in terms of their defensive rating. It's pretty much the same wherever they go, but they are playing a little bit faster at home, which gives up a few more points, and on the road, not quite as many points, just because they're not playing quite as fast. So that all makes sense. All the things that they do well on defense, Boston, do poorly, as you mentioned, are not things that you're worried about the Hawks doing well. And really, it's just that Hawks defense at home, man. Like it's way better. I really want to give a huge shout out to DeJounte Murray, obviously, and then you also look at guys down low like Okongwu coming in and playing a lot better for them than and he's really just never been available. So having a nice backup center finally also helps for the Hawks. As soon as Clint Capella comes off the floor, they're not completely void of an interior presence, which has helped a lot in terms of defending the paint and things of that nature. So yeah, I really love an under in this game. I really don't want to touch who's going to win it. I do think it's going to be close. I'm not a huge fan of teasers in the NBA that often, just because I get scared at the end of games. But if you're going to give me under 240 and you're saying the Hawks are not going to lose by more than 7 points, there's just no way I can't feel really, really good about that. I know that's going to get me probably about closer to minus 110, maybe even minus 120, depending on where you get it, these lines here, if you do want to tease the Hawks. But I would feel super comfortable. I'm going to hit the under and not worry about it at 235 and feel pretty good about that. But if you do want to add a little bit to it and give yourself some security, this would be a time where, the either team winning by double digits does not seem like it's possible. And if you look at recent history, the one team winning by double digits in Atlanta is Atlanta.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily talk about what the Hawks do at home. They're 3-4 to the under at home versus 6-1 on the road this year, which is kind of the opposite of what we've seen. But they are playing. They're doing that despite going a little bit faster at home, but they're less efficient. 7 fewer points per 100, scoring 3 fewer points per game, and shooting 29% from 3. Again, they can't buy one. The one way that does go wrong, if you take the 240 teaser, is if there's just a sudden avalanche of positive regression and everybody's hitting threes. Tatum is unbelievable right now, and he has played really well. His last 2 at home against Atlanta, you look at the last one in Atlanta, he had 20 points on 5 for 17 shooting last January, and that was when the Celtics had already started their heater. At that point, that was still an under big time. Rob Williams, some credit for that, but like I said, the Celtics are still playing well, protecting the paint. And then, neither team should necessarily be relied upon to get a lot of free throws here, which would help you slow the game down, get to the over. It's really going to come down to whether they can hit a bunch of threes, I think. And I think both these teams know the personnel well enough and are geared up enough. They're coaching well enough to run guys off the line that can hit. And the Hawks are just not even a three-point shooting team right now. I mean, like Trey for a while now has been going inside the arc, trying to get his floater game going, and I think that's going to be just a little tougher here against the Celtics' big wings.
Fully agree. And I love what we're seeing from Atlanta. If they're going to play that well against the top teams in the East, like they have been for the last couple seasons, and definitely this one, then I'm going to feel pretty good about them in any matchup right now where they're playing. They're a dog and they're playing a top 3 or 4 team in the East for sure. So that's all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. We are going to be coming back to you with another game video and our player props video tonight. So until we see you next, happy betting.